Let's face it, depression is a monster. It's insidious and it colors everything gray. It can corrode your work performance and destroy relationships with those that you love. Howdy. I'm Dr. Boster, an MS neurologist in Columbus, Ohio, and over the last 2 decades, I have literally helped thousands of my patients fight depression and win. But I'm not just some doctor talking about theory. I've battled depression myself, and I've beat it. Through medical science, experience, and trial and error, I developed a 10-step bulletproof plan to crush depression. And in this video, I'm going to share all of it with you. The last step was the hardest for me to personally accept, and yet it made the biggest difference. Now don't turn away, because all of that starts right now. Step 1 is daily movement. Many of you that follow my channel know that in order to live your best life despite having MS, you need to have exercise as part of your lifestyle. But you may not know that exercise is an outstanding antidepressant. Now, you don't have to run marathons or become an MMA fighter. Literally going for a walk, doing a daily stretching regimen, yoga, or lifting light weights can make a massive difference. Here's why. Exercise releases natural endorphins, and it helps rewire the brain for the better. So here's the action step. I want you to add just 5 minutes of exercise every single day. I'm not looking for a half an hour run. I'm looking for you to consistently add in a little bit of exercise. That's it. Step 2 sounds like something your mom would tell you to do. But guess what? Your mom was right. It involves getting a little bit more sunlight every day and upping your water game. I'm challenging you to go out in the sun for 5 to 15 minutes every day. Now, if you're not able to pull that off, because let's say you live in the Midwest and it's freezing cold in the winter, I respect that. In that instance, I want you to spend a few dollars and buy a happy light. You can find them online, you plug it in and turn it on in the morning, and you bathe yourself in what seems like natural light. As far as upping your water game, it's weird how hydration can actually improve your mood. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you to try it out. Literally add 1 glass of water with each meal you eat and 1 glass of water between each meal. That's it. Step 3 is to go to bed 1 hour early every night. One of the fastest ways to improve your mood is to fix your sleep. Exhaustion and fatigue are unfortunately all too common in the setting of MS, and they make depression worse. If you're fatigued and not sleeping well, you're messing up your brain chemistry. Many of us spend the last few hours before we go to sleep doom scrolling on our phone or staring at the TV. I'm asking you to turn those screens off and to climb in bed just 1 hour early. But there's one extra step to supercharge this technique. That supercharged technique is to keep a gratitude journal that you use right before you fall asleep. Just keep a pad of paper and a pencil by the bedside table. When you're in bed, right before you go to sleep, open it up and write down 3 things that you're grateful for that day. Studies have shown that writing down things you're grateful for helps reduce stress hormones and helps you sleep better. It helps you focus on positive things as opposed to ruminating as you're trying to fall asleep. The action step is to set an alarm to go to bed 1 hour early every night. Once you get in bed, on a pad of paper, write down 3 things that you're grateful for. They can be small things. This will help rewire your brain to think about the positive and help improve your sleep. Step 4 is to remove sugar and ultra-processed foods from your diet. I hate when doctors say dumb stuff, like
what you eat doesn't matter.
Because it absolutely does. Your brain is a biochemical machine. If you feed it junk, it's going to run like junk. And sugar and ultra-processed foods contribute to depression and anxiety. The ultimate goal is to remove from your diet all sugary foods, all foods with high fructose corn syrup, and all ultra-processed foods. I want you to remove any food that has an ingredient that you can't pronounce, because that's not a food, that's a chemical, and I don't want you to eat that. We're not going to start with the ultimate goal, however. I have an action step which you can implement easily starting today. Before I share that with you, if you'd like to learn more about ultra-processed foods and why I want you to avoid them, I'll throw a card to a video I made right up here. Now, the action step is something you can implement immediately. I simply want you to identify 1 sugary food or 1 ultra-processed food a day and swap it out for a whole, single ingredient food. You can do that. Step 5 is 5 minutes of mindful breathing daily. This is the step that most people tend to skip, and yet it's one of the most powerful. Depression literally hijacks your brain, and mindful breathing helps put you back in control. That's why it's commonly used as a tool in therapy, in meditation, and even in elite military training to help master emotional control. Why it works? Mindful breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It lowers stress hormones, and it literally helps facilitate relaxation. The action step is to set a timer for just 5 minutes. Sit in a quiet room with your eyes closed and focus on slow, deep breaths. It may help if you go through a thought process such as saying, breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I love myself. Breathing out, I'm full of love. This will literally rewire your brain. Try it. Step 6 is to say no to toxic people and toxic situations. Toxic relationships fuel depression. If someone in your life drains you, manipulates you, or makes you feel worthless, then it's time to set some boundaries. Why this works? Toxic environments and toxic relationships keeps you stuck in a negative thought loop. Being around negative influences increases stress hormones. It reinforces feelings of worthlessness and of self-doubt. Now, setting clear boundaries helps remove these emotional energy drains. It creates a space for positive relationships and for self-care. Research shows that removing yourself from toxic people can help reduce anxiety. It can improve self-esteem and promote emotional healing. Here's your action step. Say no to one toxic situation this week, whether that be a draining conversation, an event, or a toxic person. Here's an additional tip. If completely cutting ties with someone is not a possibility, then I want you to literally limit your exposure to them and practice emotional detachment, not engaging in their negativity. Ideally, you want to surround yourself with people that support you and uplift you, protecting your mental energy. Step 7 in my bulletproof plan to beat depression is to start a hobby that you practice at least once a week. Here's the thing. Depression can make you lose interest in almost any activity. I don't want you to wait until you feel like it. I want you to literally start. Later, you're going to feel it. Why it works. Engaging in a hobby activates the reward centers in your brain, increasing dopamine levels. Now, whether it's painting, playing music, writing, or gardening, hobbies help you shift away from negative thoughts and provide you with a sense of accomplishment. Studies have shown that even low-effort creative activities can improve mood and reduce your stress. Here's the action step. Pick one activity that you enjoy, or at least one that you used to enjoy. I want you to commit to doing that activity for 1 hour each week. Now, if you don't know where to start, that's okay. Try something new. Experimenting can literally be part of the fun. I call Step 8 the Social Connection Challenge. Social isolation is all too common in the setting of MS, and isolation fuels depression. Even a simple conversation can make a big difference. Why this works? Human connection is a biologic need, just like food and water. When we isolate ourselves, our brain reinforces feelings of loneliness and sadness. Social interactions, even small ones, release oxytocin, which improves mood and lowers stress. So here's your action step. Text message a friend or family member just to check in. It doesn't have to be deep. Even just a simple, "Hey, I was thinking about you. How are you doing?" can restart the process of connection. Now, if you feel up to it, schedule a coffee or take a walk with someone you trust. Every interaction builds momentum. Now, the last 2 tips are my power tips. They can have the biggest impact. But before we go there, I'm really curious. Which of the tips that I've covered so far are you planning on trying first? Let me know in the comments section. Step 9 is a big one. It's to start to work with a talk therapist weekly. I think of talk therapy as hiring a strength coach for your mind. Why it works. When you tell someone you love that you feel sad, they feel an emotion. They're not objective, they're subjective. And whereas that's a beautiful thing, it limits your ability to have breakthrough moments, to have aha moments, and get past emotional barriers. A trained listener, a professional, has no stake in your life. They're objective, and they can act as a powerful sounding board. A trained professional can help you untangle negative thought patterns. They can help you build emotional resilience, and importantly, they can help you develop coping strategies tailored for you. I find my counselor to be absolutely invaluable. If I'm struggling, I know that I'm going to see her on Thursday, and I can table it and bring it to her, and she'll help me process and figure it out. The action step is if you don't already have a therapist, I want you to book one this week. Not sure where to start? Many online platforms now offer virtual counseling, or you can ask your primary care doctor for a referral. Seeing a counselor isn't a sign of weakness. It's a way of building a stronger and healthier mind. Step 10 is the step that most people resist. I know that I did. And I also know that it can make the absolute biggest difference in beating depression. It's taking an antidepressant medication. I personally fought taking an antidepressant for years and years. because I didn't want it to change who I was or how I felt. What I didn't understand is these medicines don't do that. There's no shame in taking a medication. Depression is a biological and medical condition, and sometimes lifestyle changes alone are inadequate. It requires an antidepressant to reset your brain chemistry. If you had high blood pressure, you take a medicine to fix it, and this is literally no different. The action step can take a lot of courage, but I want you to talk to your provider about whether or not an antidepressant might help you. I know that it helped me. So far today, we've reviewed my 10-step bulletproof process to beat depression. This includes daily movement, increasing sunlight exposure and upping your water game, going to bed an hour early and committing to a gratitude journal, avoiding sugar-laden foods and ultra-processed foods, 5 minutes of daily mindfulness, saying no to toxic people, practicing a hobby at least once a week, a weekly social connection, weekly talk therapy, and taking an antidepressant medication. Depression is not, however, the only issue that you can experience in the setting of multiple sclerosis. Fatigue is another monster. And if you'd like to learn how to beat fatigue, click the video that's on your screen right now. If you found this video to be helpful, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until my next video or live stream, this is Boster saying be safe and take care.